So, it's just me today. Crystal is feeling under the weather. So, yeah, I'm just going to be talking real briefly, and I think I can actually do it. I think I can actually keep it brief because it's just me. About multiple dog households. So, I'm Eric with the Dog Psychology and Training Center, and that's how I usually feel in my life with multiple dogs and multiple kids in the same house. So I was just thinking, we as a team are going through a book right now, and the chapter that I just started talks about like the interesting dynamic that having multiple dogs in the same household brings. So I was just going to talk about that real briefly today. So there's a number of challenges that we experience just having one dog in the house and trying to be consistent and laying ground rules and leadership and trying to be really good about that with just one dog. But when you've got multiple dogs in the house, like you're getting tag teamed all the time, every moment of every day. So like regardless if you've got two dogs that have been in the house for years or if you've got one dog that maybe is kind of crazy and wild and hard to deal with themselves and you introduce a new dog, or maybe your dog is really really mannered and listens pretty good, and then you introduce a new dog in the house and it's like, what just happened? Like everything went out the window, it seems like. Or it's like every time I'm focusing on the puppy, like you're getting into something, or you're not listening at all, because you know that my attention is divided, because dogs know that. Like they will act differently just knowing that your attention is divided, and you know that because when company comes, they do things that they know they can't get away with other times. When there's people at the door, when you've got other dogs around, when you're out in public, when you stop and you want to say hi, when you're in Lowe's and you've got your dog and you stop because you see somebody and you go, oh, how's it going? And your dog starts doing something that they never do. They know your attention is divided. So your dog understands that your attention is divided 100% of the time when you have multiple dogs in the house. So how do you cope with that? I think the biggest thing is you have to first have each of your dogs individually listen to you. So how do you get around that when you've got a multiple dog house? Take one dog aside, right? Take one dog and work with them focused inside or outside, away from the other dogs. Either put the other dogs in a crate, or take the one dog you're going to focus on a field trip or just outside or whatever, and work with them so that you can get their obedience solid in a one-on-one setting. One-on-one setting, not a 5-on-1 or 2-on-1 or 3. Because with kids and with dogs, you've got to have a really good foundation with each individual dog first. So once you've got each of your dogs, if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, whatever, each one of them should have solid obedience individually. And as far as you want to take that, that could just be doing a sit at the door when people come, or doing a place command, or it could be off leash recalls, whatever level of obedience you want to have with all of your dogs present. You've got to have each of them doing one-on-one. So make sure that you work with them one-on-one, and then once you've got two dogs that work really solid, when it's just you and them, then you can introduce another dog, right? And it's probably going to be a lot easier if you have help that first time you do that. So have your spouse or one of your kids or a friend, like, have one dog that is holding a place or a sit, or just there, that they can have them on leash, so that if you're outside, whatever your obedience is, they can keep dog 2 from trying to play with dog 1, and that you don't have to focus on them, right? You don't have to make sure that they're not getting into something or running off or whatever. And then you can go through just your obedience stuff with dog 1. And then once you can do that successfully with dog 1, with dog 2 present, then switch the dogs, right? So they're not interacting, you're not trying to walk them through the neighborhood both at the same time, right on day one, right? You should be able to walk through the neighborhood with each individual dog before you're going to take 2 or 3 or 7 dogs all at the same time. So then once you can kind of go through things or your routine, whatever like I said, whatever level of obedience that you're trying to get to with all the dogs present, do it with one, having dog 2 just present, right? Not trying to do them both at the same time. Rotate the dogs. Just have dog 1 present while you're working with dog 2, and then you can do your routine with dog 2 that's loose, so he can be trying to engage and interact with the dog that you're working with, but you've already worked dog 1 successfully through the dog being there, so the excitement is a lot lower than if you just put the dogs together and they're playing and you're trying to get your dog to sit because somebody's at the door, or you're trying to get them to come to you, you're trying to get them to listen in any degree of success with the dog present. Like, get them to listen in a like just like everything else, like your distraction ladder, right? You want challenging but doable. That's what we're always looking for, something challenging but doable. So if you can't get your dogs individually to greet somebody nicely when they come to the door, don't expect to just be able to have 5 dogs that, you know, you're going to work through that all at the same time, because you can't give enough attention to 5 different dogs at the same time to have a lot of success. Like, you're probably going to be very frustrated, and that's going to show, and then your results are going to reflect that. So work with each dog individually, and then gradually introduce other dogs, however many you've got, and the level of interaction that they have also should be gradually increased, to the point that, you know, after working with just a dog present, then a dog that's loose, so they can interact and they can try and antagonize the dog while you're trying to get them to do your thing, and then once they've both done that routine, then work them together, right? And again, start small. Like, even if your dog is doing off-leash recall from 70 feet away by themselves, like, when you if you're trying to do 2 or 3 dogs at once, I would still start small. So just start by having them do a sit, and then, you know, something else that's relatively simple, like a down or a place, all at the same time, and then you can progress from there. But just because one dog can do something really, really well by themselves does not mean that that you should expect them to do that really, really well with other dogs present right off the bat. So even though those first steps, when you've got your group, those first steps should move pretty quickly if they're all doing it by themselves really well. Those steps should be quickly, but I would still encourage you to go through those steps rather than just jump into, yeah, we're going to do this really advanced command all at the same time, and it's going to be awesome, and then you find out that it's not. So yeah, don't make yourself get flustered by trying to do too much with too many dogs all at the same time. Work them individually and then increase from there. Again, I'm Eric from the Dog Psychology and Training Center. I'm trying to keep this one short for you guys because I know some of our episodes are pretty long. If you have any questions, or if anything I said didn't make sense because I didn't have somebody here to check me and make sure that what I'm saying actually is sensible into the ear, then post a comment, and I'll check on that. And if I need to make another video or just give you a little answer as to what I was talking about, I'll be glad to do that. So cool. See you guys next week. And we'll probably have a different backdrop because we are going to be somewhere else at that time. So you'll have to check in to find out where we're at. Oh, see you guys later. Let me see if I can shut this down. This is my face when I'm trying to work with multiple dogs. Dogs that don't listen. Oh my goodness, this is my face. Don't judge me.